Not watering your plants enough or watering them too much, too often, keeps your plants in stress, slows down their growth, causes root rot, and sometimes even kills your plants. This is why it is important to understand how often to water your plants and how much water should you give. Hi everyone. Today I will show you 3 different ways to tell when it is time to water. And as a bonus, I will show you 3 effective ways to deeply water your plants. A lot of gardeners are watering wrong. I did it too. But we will fix it and you will learn very useful tricks if you watch this video to the end. I have this container here and it is dry. I'm going to weigh it on my kitchen scale and you can see it is about 2 pounds and 13 ounces. Now watch this. I have captured some rainwater and I'm going to put it in here and leave it for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, I even watered it a bit from the top. So let us pick it up now and put it back on the scale. Now it weighs 3 pounds and 7 ounces. So a container with water in it weighs more as compared to when it is dry. You can use method for smaller containers and most importantly for your seedlings. You don't need the kitchen scale for it. Just lift it when it is watered well as when it is dry, and feel the difference. So next time when it starts to feel lighter, it is time to water. This was first tip to tell if it is time to water or not. And it works well for containers. The next 2 tips will work for in-ground gardens and raised beds as well. In fact, I will show you a way to take the guesswork out of all this. But first, let us fix this common gardening tip, which is to poke your finger into the dirt and feel how moist it is. My question is, what if you have too many containers like me or a very large garden? You will end up with a very sore finger. Do this instead. Get some bamboo skewers. These are very inexpensive and you get a bunch in one single packet. You can use a knife to mark 1 inch and 2 inch scale on it. I even put a painter's tape on top so that I can find it easily in my garden. I'm going to take one and poke it into this container and few other containers here and some into the raised bed. I'm going to leave these here and we will check on these tomorrow. It is more than 24 hours now and let me pull this one out. Can you see a visible difference in the color here? The end that was sticking out is dry and light in color, but the one that was buried under the dirt is looking wet. If you touch it, you will feel the moisture. What happened here is that the bamboo skewer works like a wick. If there is enough water in the container, it will be moist to touch and look wet too. If the container is drying up, the bamboo skewer will start to feel dry as well. This is when you need to water the container. Keep the skewer always inserted into the container so that you can use it for future watering. This second tip works well in raised beds and in ground garden too. You can check moisture level the same way. When the lower 1 inch that was buried starts to feel dry, it is time to water. I remember standing outside during hot summer evenings, spending about 2 hours every day watering all the containers and raised beds. It felt rough, exhausting, and above all, I felt that I didn't have time every day to do this, especially after work. I'm sure some of you must have had similar experience. I'm curious to know how you felt in those moments. So please do let me know in comments. For me, it was all because I was doing it wrong. And probably you are as well. Let me show it. Here I have this container. You can see the soil is dry. I'm going to deep water it with this hose by putting in a lot of water and letting that water soak in properly. Once it is all soaked in, I'm putting in more water and letting it soak in. Now watch this. I have a moisture meter and I'm going to insert it into this container that I just watered. It should show green. I'm inserting it deeper and deeper and it is all the way in, but it is still showing dry. Why so? I just watered it and saw all that water soaking into the dirt. In fact, let me dig this to check where that water went. Okay, I see dry soil. The more I dig, the more dry soil I see. So the moisture meter was correct. But where did all the water go? The moisture meter is my third recommendation to check when it is time to water. And it helps take out the guesswork out when to water. You can use it in containers or insert about an inch of it into raised bed or in-ground garden. And it will show whether it is dry or moist or wet. Water when it starts to show dry. I will link this one in description. But back to our mystery of water vanishing from the container, here is what happens with containers, raised beds and ground. When you pour water from a hose, it is at a very fast speed. The dirt doesn't get enough time to absorb it at all, and the water runs off through tunnels that it has made for quick exit. These are called as path of least resistance. Think of it as how flash floods work, but at a smaller scale. In my case, when I watered this container, the water just escaped fast from the drainage hose and the dirt hardly absorbed any water. So next day, this container will easily dry out because there just wasn't enough water to begin with. And worst part, during all of this, I thought I watered it deeply. Same is true for raised beds and in-ground gardens too. You water it well, but if you scratch the surface, it will be dry underneath. We can solve this problem by mimicking what nature does. Let me show you. For my in-ground garden beds and raised beds, I have soaker hose laid out. Let me turn on the water. Now, you can see the water comes out at a slower speed. This gives the dirt enough time to soak in this water and hold on to it longer. This is similar to how rain works. If it rains at slower speed, the ground absorbs more water. Once you have soaker hose running for 15 minutes, use the moisture meter or the bamboo skewer to see if water has reached 1 inch deep. If not, let it run few more minutes and check again. On average, in-ground gardens and raised beds need about an inch of water every week during the growing season. This was the first bonus tip to deeply water raised beds and in-ground gardens. I usually water mine in the morning because it allows the water to dry off from plant leaves, which helps reduce disease spread. I have a video about how to set up soaker hose system. I will link it in description. For containers, it is slightly different. I will show you two methods to deeply water containers the correct way. Of the two, the second method lessens the stress on plants better. Let us take the same container that I watered earlier, and I'm going to put a tray under it. Now I will water it from the top and let the tray catch this water. Or I can also just fill the tray itself, and I'm going to leave it for 15 minutes. It's been 15 minutes since I filled this tray, and you can see the water level has already dropped. In fact, see here, it is moving. Where is it going? It has been absorbed by the dirt in this container. In fact, this moving water shows that this container is still absorbing more water. Let me push the moisture meter in it. So it is still showing dry, but notice the moment it is fully inserted, it reads wet. This is because the dirt is absorbing water from bottom and it is wet down there. This method is called watering from the bottom. It is much more effective because the dirt absorbs much more water, so even with evaporation, there is still a lot of moisture in the pot for much longer period of time. Because there is more moisture at the bottom, the plant roots grow deeper to get the water, and this allows for better plant growth. But even with this method, you will have to check when to water. You can use moisture meter or the bamboo skewer. I would like to take the guesswork out of it as well. What I do is to insert these terracotta Oya spikes into my containers. Instead of watering the container, I fill these Oya spikes with water. I would even fill water bottles and put them upside down on the Oya spike. With these Oya spikes, there is constant supply of water available to the plant. This helps the plant to be under less stress. I don't need to guess the moisture level in dirt anymore. All I have to do is to fill the water bottle and the Oya spike when it is empty. I will link these Oya spikes in description. I did a detailed video on how the Oya works, and I even compared it to using plastic bottles instead. I promise you, you will be amazed how the plants reacted to these Oya spikes if you watch this video to the end. I will link it on the screen now. Go ahead and check it out. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to comment, like, share and subscribe. Even a simple like helps this channel a lot. A comment would be even better.